Hello, I'm Jo Kiminade from Ugly Corporation Limited, and today I'm talking to Robert May, who's the Director of Ugly System Development, and John Knorr, Founder and CEO of the Ugly System. And today we're going to be talking about the Ugly GovBizMate system and giving a demonstration on the system. John, give us an overview of the actual system.
Jo, we've developed this system to give a tool to governments so that they can present information that's important for businesses in their economy and businesses that want to do business with their economy. In other words, investors, importers, exporters and so on. So the idea of this system is to move from a very painful and expensive process of finding out what a business has to do to comply with the law in each country.
And within each country?
Within
states and provinces?
Yeah, and states and provinces, local governments. Yeah, local governments. So the idea is to move from a very expensive process that businesses have got to comply with at the moment to one where they can basically get all the information with one click. That's our ambition, and that's the task that we've set our development team, and we think we're there. So what we're really talking about here is a bit of an understanding of what we're doing and how to get there, how to use it.
And hence the name GovBizMate. It's for governments and business, and it's their friend.
That's right. We're trying to make friends between governments and business so that businesses know what they've got to comply with.
Sure.
I think there's another point that's very important here too, and a lot of governments have identified this with us. The Ugly GovBizMate system actually gives a tool for them to identify what rules and regulations should be gotten rid of.
Sure.
What rules and regulations are red tape that are just slowing down economies. So we see this as two things. One is a tool for businesses and governments, and the other one is a tool for the management of red tape or the elimination of red tape.
Okay, well that sounds great, John. What sort of costs are involved for governments?
There's no costs for governments. We're providing this, the Ugly Corporation is providing this as a free service for all governments and all levels of government, so national and state or provincial governments and local governments, cities and towns, can all use this system for free.
Sure.
It's a system that we think is going to make economies run more efficiently because businesses can see what they've got to comply with.
Right.
Okay.
So if someone's looking for an area to set up some sort of business, they can compare either country to country or state to state or municipality to municipality.
Absolutely.
And look at all the rules and regulations that apply to whatever it is that they're trying to do within that area.
That's right. So if they start at a local government level, then the local government is in a province or a state perhaps, or it's in a nation. Obviously the rules and regulations that apply at a local government are going to apply up all the way up through that information. So yeah, we're very keen to get local governments involved in this as much as we are keen to get national governments in, because they dictate a lot of things relating to land use and a lot of rules relating to land use and so on. So,
and also obviously for importers and exporters to be able to compare country to country, that's obviously going to be for the particular economy that gets that business, or if they've got this service, that's obviously going to be an advantage for them, for people that want to import into their country.
Yes, that's right. It's very easy for them to quickly find the information because it's structured by the taxonomy of products and services, which includes everything in the economy. So very easy to identify what they want to import, look at the regulations if a government has put them in, and then make their decision.
So looking at the rules and regulations from one country is identical to looking at the rules and regulations of another country, the way it's set up on the system.
Yes, that's right. They identify the product and then they switch between country looking at the regulations.
I use the example of a food processing company that wants to establish a food processing plant, and they're looking at the rules and regulations and any subsidies and incentives that might be in the economy too. So the system caters for all of those things. So they can put those side by side and basically say, look, if I go to this country, this is what I've got to comply with and this is the deal that we can make. If I go to this one, I can do it the same thing at a municipal level. It's going to look better if we do this in municipality A rather than municipality B. Okay, because there's facilities there for the same comparison.
So it really will facilitate trade within an economy and with other economies.
Look, it's making doing business faster, okay, because a business can see instantly what it's got to comply with to do what it wants to do. Okay, so that's an internal benefit.
Okay.
There's an external benefit that if I want to trade with a country, or I want to export or import or whatever I want to do, or invest in a country, then I can see what I've got to comply with there too. We're sharpening up the dynamics within an economy, and we're also making that economy better able to deal with the rest of the world.
Sure.
Okay, and that's all for nothing.
Now, Robert, you're going to take us through some of the steps and give us a demonstration of the system?
Yeah, sure, Joe. We'll first of all log in as a government authority.
Robert, a government authority using this system first has got to register as a business, effectively?
Register as a government department.
Okay, and then they have to be upgraded to have these permissions to do
That's
this.
right,
And that
yes.
takes a couple of minutes?
That takes only a couple of seconds in the
Couple of
system, but
seconds,
it's a communication coming through to system administration.
Yeah. Great.
So they register as in the same way a standard business would register, and then we go to their own control panel once they have that authority. We'll create a set of information in the system just as a demonstration. Obviously, we have created this as a demonstration,
Sure.
so we're not setting rules for the Australian government.
That's right. Not taking over yet.
No, that's right. So we just simply add a new set of information here.
Now, can I just interrupt here? A government person, I won't disclose from which country, said to me the other day, look, who's got to put this information in? And I said very clearly, you've got to put this information in because Ugly doesn't know the information and where it is. So
That's right.
The benefit of this is that somebody who's already familiar with all the information, the rules and regulations in their area of their bureaucracy can do this.
Oh, that's right.
It doesn't require any skills.
right.
So they're getting this. This is just another tool that they're given to make their life easier.
Yeah, and we provide a decentralised way for them to manage all that information. It doesn't have to come from a central authority as such.
That's right.
It can be every authority that controls any regulations and incentives and taxation or any of those things can input their own information.
So they're in control of their own information.
That's right.
It's not going to a centralised authority. It's not coming to us.
Sure.
It's totally there.
And obviously they can access this information and update it through their control panel, so if rules and regulations
24 hours a
change.
day.
Yeah,
Yep.
and as you'll see, as we input the information, once the information's in there, it really is only a link to their own web page. So if they change the information on the web page, they don't really need to change the link so long as they're using the same address, obviously.
Sure, okay.
So we're just going to put some information into this credential. This is about import standards for motorcycle helmets, and as you can see, this is the page that we're going to put in. So we take that link there and link to that page. Now we're just going to choose a topic, which is obviously import of. But while we're just on that page, I might just point out some more information there. We've got a range of use of, provision of, export, import, manufacture, taxation, investment, etc. We also have a restriction of import too. It works in exactly the same way, but it does another feature which allows the government to, if they have got a ban on particular items either coming into the country or being exported to particular countries, it has that added feature of allowing the government to ban offers in our marketplace system being made from a particular country or offers being made to a particular country. If we just click on restriction of export, we notice now we have a countries tab there, so that if we are restricting export to, the government authority can select the countries that are now on the banned list for offers being made into that country from businesses within that country.
Okay. That's really there to facilitate or to prevent accidental offers being made in breach of the law through our automated spatial marketplace systems, because a lot of business will set the parameters for their offers in that system, and we don't want to be in the position of causing them to make offers that are illegal from their country. So that's a very important thing, because we know from our testing that a lot of businesses will just automatically set and forget those processes. So the system makes offers on behalf of them. So this is a nice facility. Robert, can I just explain another thing too? Is we see this list as being a dynamic list. In fact, I was in India a couple of weeks ago, and somebody from the defence industry said, look, one of the big problems we have is getting across what the offset arrangements are for defence procurement. So if the Indian government wants to buy defence things, the supplier provides some other things, you know, build a university or do something else, whatever it may be, or some of the manufacturing's got to be done in India, and we do it in Australia, and it happens everywhere. So what they were suggesting is that it would be great if defence suppliers from overseas could see the offsets that they're required to meet within the Indian economy, and I suppose that works for all economies. So what I'm trying to say is this system is fairly dynamic, and we will add bits and pieces to it which will help governments get their message across about what they want to achieve in their economy. So we see this as a dynamic thing.
We can expand the range of topics in real time. Just to complete this exercise here, we've selected import of, and we're going to publish the information. Now we're going to add it to the products and services that relates to this particular regulation, which is motorcycle helmets.
Right. Now this is relating to the taxonomy. I don't know much about motorcycle helmets, but there may be several types of motorcycle helmets, and they may apply to every type of motorcycle helmet.
Okay, so what we're doing is selecting the products from our taxonomy. So we're going to do a search for motorcycle helmets, and we'll see there's a range of motorcycle helmets that this relates to. So obviously motorcycle street helmets is one. The next one, open-faced helmets and full-faced helmets.
Okay.
We've obviously covering all other types of helmets, off-road helmets. Now the next one, intercoms, no, that doesn't relate, but so we'll leave that one. And the next one down is replacement lenses for helmets, so obviously that one's included, and helmet bags is obviously not. So we link the regulation to all of those taxonomy items in there, which all relate to. This is obviously an Australian government authority that we're imitating here, and it applies to all states and territories. If it was a state government, then it would select only its state.
Let's say I'm in charge of quarantine for plants and fruit and vegetable coming into a country. I don't have to put in every variety. I can go into a higher point in the taxonomy and just click on that. So all varieties of mangoes or all varieties of potatoes are included in those quarantine regulations.
Absolutely.
So that makes it a very simple process for somebody that's in charge of doing that. So the example that you've given of the helmets is a fairly complex one, because there's 3 or 4 at the bottom end of this thing. Okay, but higher up, if I'm looking after a bigger part of the economy, then
a good example is if I have a regulation relating to the serving of alcohol, then it relates to all alcoholic beverages.
Sure.
If I have an incentive that relates to wine growing, then it only includes great wines.
Right.
And so I can go down the level and choose at what level. But it will include all varieties of great wines, of course.
Yes, okay. So that's making it very easy for bureaucrats and people administering this information in their department to put this information in very quickly, in fact.
Oh, yes.
They can assemble this, and providing all of the departments in the government are cooperating, then that can be a really fast process.
Yes, sure.
Okay. I see this as a very big opportunity for governments to show how smart they are at putting this information in and making it visible.
Oh, it could also be uploaded from a spreadsheet.
Of course. Okay, righto, great.
Okay, so shall we look at the search results?
Yep.
So if we put in now search of the taxonomy, and this is a general search. Nothing. It's outside of the login process. So we've searched for motorcycle helmets. So let's try the top one and have a look at street helmets. Then we click on the information button, and let's have a look at government information and go down to import of, and we can click on that, and it takes us to the website that with the regulations and information that the government has put in there.
Yeah.
Right.
It obviously shows if there's no information there, it will tell you 0, so you don't look. While we're here, if we let's click over to another country and just choose any one and look at government information, and very quickly you can see there's no government information being put in there by the Albanian government.
Right.
It's not their fault. We haven't given them the opportunity as
No,
yet.
no, that's right. We don't want to cause a diplomatic incident.
That's
here.
right. But very quickly for any user to see whether there is information relating to that government. Obviously, a government that puts information in there is showing that it's keen on
top of things,
on looking after its businesses and making the economy more efficient. Okay, so we've compared between countries, so very easy to see the various regulations, incentives by country.
And obviously, they haven't put their information in yet, as you said, but if they did, you could just click between one country and the other. And
yes, you're
fantastic.
dealing with the same product.
Okay.
Okay, so let's search for wine in Australia and click on fortified wine various. Click on the information button, government information, and we can see there's provision of samples of wine from the cellar door. If we click on that, we can see some information there from the Western Australian government. So we're looking at the whole of Australia. Now let's compare a couple of states in Australia. So first of all, we'll choose Victoria. And as you can see, there is no information about that, simply because the Western Australian government has put information in for Western Australia. So if we click on Western Australia,
but the Victorian government hasn't.
We'll see that information there, but the Victorian government hasn't put any information in there yet. So it makes it easy for, especially if we're looking at investment in, we can look at the support that the Western Australian government is giving the wine industry compared to the Victorian government or any other state government.
Okay.
And the same applies in the country comparison. So it makes it very, very easy for businesses to make decisions based on those comparisons. And it also provides enormous incentive for those governments to put their information in to attract new entrants to the industries they want to support.
Now, Robert, you're from Western Australia, so you've got giving a big plug to Western Australia. You can actually get incentives in Western Australia to grow wine. Is that what you're telling us?
I've got to tell you that I invented this for the demonstration, so it's not. But I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would. They're nice people.
I think this idea of being able to compare information is going to be a very exciting thing, and unashamedly we're putting pressure on governments to make sure that they're presenting this information. But we're not charging governments, so there's no real excuses as far as I'm concerned. They've got good incentive to do this because it's making doing business in their economy easier.
Exactly.
And it's not going to cost them anything. The guys that work for them at the moment can easily put this information together very quickly, very efficiently. The other point is that it doesn't have to be all done today. Okay, it's being put up progressively, isn't it?
Can be added and published at will. They can put a whole lot of information up there and publish it when they're ready, or they can publish every bit of information as they go along.
Yeah.
And it's not a critical mass thing. It can be done by departments.
Yeah. So the good departments, the ones that we like, can put their stuff up and say, look, we're proud of this, have a look at how good this is. Okay, and show off a bit, and that'll bring the others into line. So
Sure.
Okay.
John, why is Ugly offering this service for free?
We're about improving economies as far as we can, helping improve economies, and governments will see that we're going to bring in a lot of free services to help business do business better and be smarter and be discoverable better. And we also intend to make some money out of this process as well. So we're not making money out of this part of it, but we will make money. And we've got partners in most countries now, and that's growing very rapidly. So our motivation is to get more business done, get economies prospering and get businesses prospering. And that helps everybody, of course. Our motivation's fairly noble, I think.
Right.
And we should add that the government information is in the system with a whole lot of other information that we call intelligence relating to the various products and services that various businesses can add.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, credentialing and stuff like that. When we talk to governments, a lot of governments have said to us, this is a great tool for getting rid of red tape that we should get rid of, okay, that's holding back our economies. And
Sure.
we appreciate that because that's actually right. There is always a legacy of rules and regulations that are really not helping business do business, and they need editing. If you can't see them and you can't identify them and see what they're relating to, then it's very hard to identify them. This system is really providing an audit, I suppose, isn't it? If a government department can say, look, we're going to put up everything that relates to what happens in our economy, every rule and regulation, every bit of legislation, whatever, then business can see, governments can see. Okay, so we've got a good starting point for getting rid of the stuff that doesn't make sense anymore. When new members of parliament come into government, they don't know all this stuff. They don't know what's been passed by the last government. And we have a situation here in Australia where we've just changed governments, and I think they're talking about 21,000 pages of rules and regulations that were put in by the last government.
Sure.
That this government may not want to.
Sure. So some of those should be obsolete.
Probably will be.
Yeah.
So this is a chance of seeing them as they relate to real business needs and real products and services in the economy, and they're going to be very quick to identify, look, let's get rid of this. Okay.
I think another point, John, they'll also recognise where they haven't translated that information onto a web page, and if it's not online, then how can businesses identify it these days? Yeah.
Okay, and it's obviously very simple to do. I mean, you don't need a lot of technical skills to be able to do that. Just input that information.
Very easy. It requires no IT skills whatsoever.
Okay.
Like all components of our system have been built so that with a minimal amount of effort, someone can add information.
If they can use a computer, then they can manage this stuff
Yes.
easily without any instruction.
Okay, Robert. Well, thank you for that demonstration. Now, the system is built and ready to go. If government people are watching this and they're inspired and they think this is going to be great for their economy or their state or their municipality, what do they do now?
Yes, Joe. All they need to do is register in the Ugly system through their affiliate in their country and ask that affiliate for an upgrade.
Okay.
Simple as that.
All right, and all being free, they don't have to allow for this in their budget?
That's
No, that's right.
Yes. And it's certainly not even in resourcing because it's so easy to add that information.
Okay, well, once again, thanks, Robert, for the demonstration. Thank you, John,
Thanks,
for your
Joe.
explanations.
Thanks.
So if you're ready to get to work, go to ugly.com, that's UGLII.com, and find an affiliate in your country.